Good morning, Twitch.tv. Good morning to YouTube as well. And, of course, good morning, Mini Motorways. Let's go to Beijing for today's daily challenge. We will only get one choice of upgrade, and it won't be bridges, because we start with two of them, and that's all we get. So let's not use one immediately. We'll go this way for now. I'm sure that eventually we'll be able to go up and over, but at least for now, we'll get these reds going down this way. Hi, Nora. Why is your face on my leg? Hi. That's very cute, actually. What are we doing here, cat? Oh, you're meowing at me. Okay. Listen, there's food in your dish. I saw that there's food in your dish. Just because your dish is not overflowing does not mean it's empty. Yeah, your dish is blue. Just because you can see blue does not mean that it's empty. Hi. She's still meowing at me. You didn't even bring me a tiny floofy ball. The floofy ball is over there. Okay. More reds have spawned, and therefore we can adjust our red strategy, which is good. We must always be ready to do battle against Cincinnati. Nora, Hi. Speaking of doing battle against Cincinnati. So, good God, cat. What? Hi. Hello. You're very cute. Petting you. We'll take a roundabout. You come down here, go in there. Okay. So these two yellows swing around that way. Everything will be completely and totally fine. That's what we'll go with. Completely and totally fine. So. Nope, there's a cat. Again. Hello. Okay, I don't have anything for you right now. Listen, I can invent something to have for you right now. All right, here's what we're going to do. We are in a bad situation right this very moment, just because the map hasn't expanded enough. We're going to do this. This is a temporary solution. This is not the real actual forever answer. The real actual forever answer is going to be something else entirely. But this is what we're doing now. We've retrieved a kitty treat. I don't know why I showed it to the webcam. You can't see me right now. It's for the best. Hi, cat. Go. There. I have chucked a treat, and the cat has gone off chasing it. And if she comes back, I have another treat, which I will also chuck, and the cat will go off chasing it. And hopefully she'll get bored, because I did not get 3 treats. All right, let's take a couple of traffic lights. We're just waiting for the map to expand up north. Once the map expands north, we're going to loop these blues up and around like so. They're going to loop up and over and just will solo road this nonsense. This is not a permanent solution, this that we have going on here. Oh, goodness. So there's this baseball player. His name is Kyle Tucker. He's quite good. He's a corner outfielder. He hits for he's a very, very, very good hitter. He was, by a clear and obvious margin, the best free agent available this offseason. And my present baseball team of choice, the New York Mets, was and spoilers remains in dire need of additional batters to help with the hitting from their outfield, because at present, one of their starting outfielders is completely untested, unproven Major League rookie Carson Bench, assuming he wins the job out of spring training and the Mets don't fuck with his service time, which they probably won't. And the other is Tyrone Taylor, who, once upon a time, was a very good defensive center fielder who could also handle the bat pretty well, and is now 4 years older than he was when he was that, and is now a pretty good defensive center fielder. He's good. He's still probably a good defensive center fielder. He just can't hit at all. At all, really. And he's Tyrone Taylor was so bad at hitting last year that the Mets could not justify playing him in center field. And when you're such a bad hitter that you can't even play center field with decent center field defense, good center field defense. I don't want to undersell Tyrone Taylor while also calling him a horribly unplayable hitter who would be a comical joke of a disaster for a team that ostensibly has championship aspirations. But I don't want to undersell him, so we'll go ahead and call Tyrone Taylor a good defensive center fielder. And listen, he used to be very good, but he's still good. He's a good defensive center fielder who cannot fucking hit. And, well, there's a name in professional baseball, particularly among teams with championship aspirations, for good defensive center fielders who cannot fucking hit, and that is fourth outfielder. Tyrone Taylor is almost prototypically a fourth outfielder on a good baseball team. He is currently the starting center fielder for the New York Mets because they don't really have anyone else, because the plan, you see, was that they were going to acquire a starting caliber corner outfielder and play the aforementioned Mr. Benj in center field. So, the Mets, unsurprisingly, were very interested in Kyle Tucker. He's quite good. He likes money. The Mets have a lot of money because they're owned by a financial criminal tech stock CEO type guy. Yeah. So the Mets owner, Steve Cohen, is worth a gazillion dollars, and the Mets needed an outfielder, and Kyle Tucker was a free agent. The simple and obvious thing would be for the Mets to sign Kyle Tucker, and God bless them, the Mets tried. But you see, the Mets were willing to try so much. And listen, I'm not going to sit here and say the Mets were cheap. The Mets offered Kyle Tucker a 4-year contract that on its face was worth $220 million, which is an absurd amount of money for a human to make for playing a child's game. Child's game, I say. But listen, baseball makes a lot of money and the Baseball Players Union is still reasonably strong. So baseball players are just going to make a lot of money, particularly if they're excellent, particularly if they become free agents. This is the way the game is structured. If you don't like it, write a new CBA about it. And listen, they might write a new CBA about it. Maybe there just won't be a season in 2027 and none of this will matter. Maybe there just won't be a country by 2027 and none of this will matter. Oh, set your Goog mention to the horrors count to 0. Oh, let's take a motorway. We've got this red business going on here. I could motorway these 3 reds to get over here. And I think actually, given that I am only getting 2 bridges, like I have this 1 red business right here, it would be the most obvious thing in the world for this 1 red business to voop over that away. But again, with the whole only 2 bridges and you never get more bridges thing, it actually kind of makes sense to use the motorway here, I guess. Another thing that I could theoretically do is like run these reds down here, maybe have a roundabout going and get these reds to support this business, but I don't think we necessarily need to be doing that. I think this red can come down here, but what I will do, actually, now that I'm thinking of it, is I'll just do this and we'll toss a PCTL right there. So this 1 red house can provide additional support and nourishment to this red circular business. Okay. Next, we have, you know what? Let's move the on-ramp up there. And do I want to do anything different with this guy? Not at the moment. For right now, we're just going to make a weird little double road situation going out here. I could actually, hold on. Maybe I don't want to do that. Because I do have a fair whack of road. And it is always better to maintain our guiding principle of 1B and 1R. So what if we were to take, say, the 1, 2, 3 of these greens, and then just have these 4 go up loopy over here? Is that better? That feels like it might be better. Oh, I didn't realize I had run exactly out of road. I had run exactly out of road for a moment there, but we got some more. So that's fine. I think this will be decent for a while at least. Okay. So Kyle Tucker, very, very, very good baseball player, plays the corner outfield spots, would theoretically be willing to move to first base at some point in the future, has performed well as a designated hitter and is probably not a giant baby about it, seemed a good fit for the New York Mets. And to their credit, the New York Mets offered him a fuckload of money. However, there is another baseball team.
Here,
hear ye. Let the record show that this viewer was here first. Good afternoon, Sunflare Space. She says, Goog morning work sucks. That is true. The general concept that one must labor in order to earn living is a bad thing. It is a failing of society that we have organized society in this way. We're also complaining about baseball today, so that's fun. We're just going to toss all of these grays, although not this gray. This gray will do this. We're going to toss all of these grays going over this way. We will use, at least for the moment, one of our 2 and only 2 bridges to get gray houses going this way to service this gray business. This gray business is now a gray circle, so it's good that we gave it all of the grays. Okay. You go off that way. Your name is Sunny. You're the gray. Sunflare Space says we're doing inventory by hand. Someone took your assigned and labeled locker, and the new manager came to say hi and kept interrupting. Well, okay, the first one sucks because, goddamn it, inventory people, do we seriously not have technology for this? I feel as though we probably have technology for this. The second one sucks because the person's being an asshole, and the third is at least an annoyance of, listen, I know you mean well, and it's probably for the best, but good God. Good God. Let's have these 8 grays right here. I am, in fact, going to draw motorway number 3 to reclaim one of my precious bridges, and we'll go off this away with these gray houses. Now, at some point, it's going to become untenable to have blue houses supporting all of this. Are we already at a point of non-tenability? I don't think we're there yet, but we're getting there. We might be getting close. Okay, hold on. You have hand scanners. They're going to run a pilot later this year. Oh, this seems... At this point, this seems like intentionally stupid, which you never want to wonder if your company's being intentionally stupid for any reason. Let's take these blues, and we're gonna redraw this green to loop it up here so as to incorporate these blues into the general dude flow. So the general dude flow will go this way, and we'll have a PCTL do that. That means that we have these 4 and these 4. That means 8 blues swing over this way, get in this way. However, I think actually what we're going to do instead is chop all of this. By chopping all of this, we have these blues here, which can then run... Sorry about that, tree. Ah, that's water! I didn't realize that was water. Fuck. Okay, well, I was trying to avoid the water there, so we'll actually just go back to this. The whole company's running so far behind technologically. Well, that's bad. Can't check your inventory. Can't check whether another store might have... Yeah, that seems... These are reasons why you don't do manual hand county inventory. Why are you doing manual hand county inventory? Peter S. has a great sandwich. I'm glad you have a great sandwich, Peter. Someone's having a good morning. Well, you see... In addition to the New York Mets, who are a reasonably smart, well-moneyed baseball team who found themselves in need of a corner outfielder this offseason, there is another team in such a predicament. You may have heard of them. They're the 2-time defending World Series champion Los Angeles Dodgers, who are the 2-time defending World Series champions in part because they're excellent. They're a tremendously run organization, and their owners have all of the money in the goddamned world. Because while Steve Cohen is the richest individual owner in Major League Baseball, he is not the richest owner. That's actually Rogers, the company that owns the Toronto Blue Jays. They were also interested in Kyle Tucker. They also got Kyle Tuckered. That is not the title of the episode. That's just a special tweet. That's the special treat between you and me. But... Oh, God. Okay. So, but Guggenheim Partners, the name of the holding corporation that owns the Los Angeles Dodgers, is exceedingly well-moneyed. They have a bunch of fucking rich guys who all got together and were like, hey, let's buy the Los Angeles Dodgers and turn them into baseball's preeminent franchise. I bet that'll be a great way to make a bunch of money. And to their credit, they bought the Los Angeles Dodgers and have turned them into baseball's preeminent franchise and are, as a direct result, making a fuckload of money. So, good for them. Good for you, Guggenheim partners. But also, no relation, unfortunately. Other people use words that contain the syllable Goog, despite the best efforts of my copyright attorneys. Actually, I'm not even going to bother incorporating these reds. Like, this red circle down here is just doing fine. You got 6 houses. You got a reasonably short motorway. I have very little concern about this for even the medium term, let alone the long term. You're fine. You're fine. This gray business, however, is fucked. This is bad. This right here, this is irksome. This is not good. Oh, Lord. All right. Well, what exactly are we going to do to solve this situation? I don't know. How do we solve a problem like this thing? A wonderful question. Let's see here. I think the leading plan is to wait until Monday and see if I get a motorway. Because if I get a motorway on Monday, then everything's fine. Because I can just boop this road up a little bit, and we take like these 4 grays right here, and we motorway that to that. You see exactly what I mean. If we get the motorway, we just have to, get the motorway. So let's find out together. We didn't get the motorway. Fuck. Okay. Well, now we're probably still fine. Honestly, it's not the end of the world. I don't think it's the end of the world. We're going to have to use one of our 2 bridges. That's what we're going to have to do. We're going to toss a traffic light right here, and we're going to wind up using one of our 2 bridges. So these 4 grays come down over here, and they go up this way, and they loop this way, and they come here. Let's do this. You do that. Yeah, all y'all do this. I could do this as a PCTL, but actually, I think what I'm going to do, because there's so much dude flow going on here, I'm actually just going to toss a roundabout right about here. And used to go in from the southwest. You come in from the due south. You come in from the southeast. Yous come in from the east. And all y'all wind up going out north, up this way, and away you go. Come over here, get a PCTL into the gray business, or swing down this way, all the way over to the greens. This is probably still fine. This is a decent way to get these 4 grays off in a thisly manner, serve this business. Everything's going to be basically fine. I'm still a little bit concerned about, concerned isn't even the right word, but it's interesting to me that we have all of these reds up here not really doing nothing. This guy just went circular, which means fun times ahead, I guess. Here. You go off that away. Hey, if we get like 3 more greens to spawn here, I can take all of... Holy crap. Every green that spawns here is another green that doesn't have to come from here. So, this is tremendous, what's happening down here. So the Los Angeles Dodgers, a very smart baseball team, very excellent baseball team, 2-time defending World Series champions, found themselves kind of, sort of, maybe needing a corner outfielder this winter. Because, like, they've got Teoscar Hernandez, and he's probably good, but he did kind of suck last year, and he might just be cooked. And they've got Andy Pages, and he's probably good, but he's young, and he didn't really do amazingly last year. And, they've got Mookie Betts, who won an MVP in right field and can't play shortstop forever, but also they don't really have a guy to replace him at shortstop. So, it's just kind of difficult. So, basically, here's what happened, as far as we can tell. the Dodgers made it known to Mr. Tucker that they were interested. And somehow, can't possibly say how, literally don't know, Kyle Tucker got his final offer from the Mets, which was something like 4 years, $220 million, with an opt-out after years 2 and 3, and a little bit of deferred money. And somehow, Kyle Tucker wound up signing with the Los Angeles Dodgers for 4 years and $240 million, with opt-outs after years 2 and 3, and a little bit of deferred money. Now, did Kyle Tucker take his last and best offer from the New York Mets to the Los Angeles Dodgers and say, hey guys, can you beat this? Because if you can, I'll come play for you. And the Los Angeles Dodgers just beat the fucking offer? Maybe. That is entirely possible. Can't say for sure that it happened. Maybe the New York Mets, who are themselves a front office that is very similar and has very similar player evaluations to the Los Angeles Dodgers, maybe they just put basically the same value on Kyle Tucker that the Los Angeles Dodgers did. And Kyle Tucker decided to sign with the Los Angeles Dodgers because, after all, the Los Angeles Dodgers are the 2-time defending World Series champions who have the greatest player to ever play the sport and are in Los Angeles, California. The New York Mets missed the playoffs last year, have a couple of very, very, very good players, and are in New York City. Which, listen, New York City has its appeal. There are players for whom New York City is preferable to Los Angeles, California. They are not numerous, but they exist. Juan Soto is a New York Met, in large part due to the fact that he preferred to play his home baseball games in New York City rather than Los Angeles, California. The Dodgers would have been very happy to sign Juan Soto, and they didn't. So, you know. We're starting to run into a bit of a problem, by the way, with this whole blue double business nonsense we got going on here. This whole blue double business nonsense we got going on here is bad. I don't know if it's inherently bad, but it's definitely not amazing right now. So I could incorporate all of these guys coming up here somehow, but in order to do that, I'd probably have to use these 4 to serve this business, which would mean using my last bridge. And I kind of want to save that for any situation where I can't possibly avoid it. So what I'm going to do instead is we're going to grab these 4 blues right here. I'm going to draw motorway number 4, and motorway number 4 is just going to come here. It's going to swing in that way, and then either go down into this business or come over here and serve the square. Either way, it's 8 more blue cars coming here and taking care of blue stuff. Should be good and fine. So Kyle Tucker, having received his offer from the New York Mets of 4 years, $220 million with opt-outs after years 2 and 3 and some pretty significantly deferred money, wound up signing with the Los Angeles Dodgers for 4 years and $240 million with opt-outs after years 2 and 3 and some fairly heavily significantly deferred money. Which means that the New York Mets are continuing to look for a corner outfielder. And listen, all of that is disappointing. It's frustrating. In some ways, it's not the worst thing that happened to the Mets yesterday. For you see, we have previously mentioned that the New York Mets owner is a gazillionaire tech guy, stock investor, financial criminal, that sort of fucker. The kind of person who should not exist in a right and just society, but at least he owns the baseball team for which I happen to root. So he's got that going for him. By the way, we've got a problem going on with these yellows here, and I think we need to solve it. So, we have 5 yellow houses here, which are presently serving 2 businesses, one of which is a circle. Allow me to present this option. Fuck that. We're going to avoid entering this double plaza with these yellows. These yellows will instead just go up and serve this business exclusively. And we now have these 5 houses right here. These 5 houses right here are going to go down that way via motorway number 1 and serve this business all by their very own self. So that means that 5 houses will serve this business, 5 houses will serve this business. I think these are both just going to be fine. Why are we talking about tinnitus? Hold on. Sonny's moving to Finland in February. Hooray. Peter S. was asking about that. Work sucks, but at least you get a late start tinnitus. Okay. How badly? I'm sorry. I understand that you're on your phone and busy and doing stuff. How badly do you have to type the word tomorrow for autocorrect to make it tinnitus? That is a question to which I do not know the answer. Another question to which I do not know the answer is, why does this house not have cars? Where are you grays go? Oh, this makes obvious sense, actually, now that I look at it. This gray house spawned here on this road, went into the roundabout, and went over to serve this business. Well, just because I understand it doesn't mean I endorse it, so let's get you away from that. And now, question becomes, how do we get grays to this business? And the answer to that is bad. I think the answer is bad. So what we're going to do is... No, wait, I can't have you go on this road. Shit. Oh, further complicating matters is the fact that I can't have grays go on this road at all, because if I do, they're going to want to get over here. Fuck. Okay, well, I see an answer, and unfortunately, yeah, we're going to go with unfortunately, the answer does involve using our final bridge. So... we're going to come over here. We're going to have these grays swoop down here. We're going to pick up this yellow for the hell of it. Going to move motorway number 1 such that it enters the eastern entrance of this plaza. And then we're going to hop over this tiny little lake right here. Got to wait for the motorway to restructure itself. So once the motorway demotorizes itself, which will be once this yellow car hops out of here, which it just did, we put that road together, and now these gray houses will serve this gray business. And that should basically be fine. You go over to there. Here's another red. Actually, this red has just gone circular, which is basically fine. We've got... Hey, wait a second. Why are reds here being pulled in 2 different directions? Why are the reds here being pulled in 2 different directions? What is the point of the southern spur of this roundabout? Why did I construct the southern spur of this roundabout? I don't remember. We're going to kill it. It doesn't seem to make sense to me now. This is fine. We don't have, institutional memory here or anything, so... You go off over that away. Should be good. Okay. So, this whole Kyle Tucker negotiation, you may realize that it is the middle of January, and the baseball season ended in October, basically November. So it's been like 2.5 months of the Mets offseason, which has primarily, not entirely, but primarily consisted of the Mets getting rid of dudes who were on the Mets. Like, they traded away Brandon Nimmo, and listen, that was a good and fine trade. It was a good job, well done. They traded away Jeff McNeil, which... probably needed to happen, and they didn't re-sign Pete Alonso. Again, good move. I'm not upset with the moves that the Mets have or have not made, for the most part. It's very annoying that they didn't sign Kyle Tucker, but I have a thesis statement which I'll get to. This yellow business here has gone circular, which is actually terrifying because we only have 3 houses serving it, and I can't really finagle... Well, I think I can finagle a couple more houses, actually, because we can swing these 2 from over here, and now there are 5 serving that, and that's kind of good. Like, if you think about it. Don't think too hard, because if you think too hard, you'll realize that it's not actually fine. But if you just kind of glance at it, you think that 5 houses is finally okay. Which, hey, it might even be. So it's been like 2.5 months of the Mets trying to make their team better for next season, And specifically, they've been engaged with Kyle Tucker in very heavy, high-level end-type negotiations for like a week and a half, or 2 weeks, or something. And there have been multiple days where there have been reports saying, Kyle Tucker's going to make a decision tonight, and then Kyle Tucker didn't make a decision. It was frustrating. As a fan. As an executive, presumably, this is the process, this is what needs to happen. By the way, this gray business is just dying. I think it became gray rush hour, and it turns out that we can't handle gray rush hour, which is surprising because, Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker are old and they're making another movie. We're gonna have to deal with gray rush hour at some point. Gray rush hour, I suppose, is one of the titles of the episode. But yeah, we couldn't handle gray rush hour. So that's unfortunate. So Steve Cohen, owner of the New York Mets. You may know him. I've recently referred to him as a financial criminal who shouldn't be allowed to exist in polite and decent society, but is considered one of the great American success stories. Steve Cohen is also the primary owner of the New York Mets. And yesterday, just before it came out that Kyle Tucker had signed with the Los Angeles Dodgers, and therefore, presumably, not in a way that actually affected the negotiations. But not too long before it came out that Kyle Tucker had agreed to terms with the Los Angeles Dodgers, Steve Cohen tweeted, hey, if any of y'all see smoke, let me know. Which is a Pope joke. It's we're all waiting to see who the new Pope is. If there's white smoke out of the thing, then there's a Pope, and if there's black smoke, that means there's not. It's a papal elections joke. But also, it's not great for a dude who, at least ostensibly, is involved in high-level negotiations with a very important potential employee of his, who may or may not be becoming frustrated with the indecision of that employee, who is by no means bound by law, contract, or even good manners to make a decision on Mr. Cohen's timeline. It's not a great look for Steve Cohen to be out here tweeting that this is taking too fucking long. And for Steve Cohen to be out here tweeting that this is taking too fucking long and to then not sign the guy. It's not a great look. So, to sum up, the Los Angeles Dodgers are the best team in baseball. They have the most money. They have the best player to ever play baseball. And they're in Los Angeles, California. The New York Mets have a good team. The Mets have a good team. They have a very rich owner who's also a bit of a clownish jerk. And they play in New York, New York. Which, listen, is not nowhere. There are worse situations in which to be than that of the New York Mets. One could, for instance, be in the situation of the Colorado Rockies, who do not have a particularly rich owner, as baseball owners go, have, in fact, an exceedingly stupid owner whose major leap forward in team process orientation is to hire a guy who was considered a reasonably smart baseball executive in 2015, who has spent the last decade ineptly running the Cleveland Browns. And who play in Denver, Colorado, which creates weird, horrible situations unique to his team, and is in the same division as the Los Angeles Dodgers, putting them in even more direct competition than the competition of the New York Mets, who are in the same league but not the same division, and therefore play the Dodgers like sometimes and don't have to finish better than the Dodgers to get in the playoffs, and probably do have to beat the Dodgers to get through the playoffs. Deal with that in October if we're lucky. Here's the thing, and I've said this before and I'll say it again. If you can't outsmart them, and you can't because they're the Dodgers, they're the smartest team, and you can't out-appeal them, And you can't because they're the Dodgers, who are the two-time defending World Series champions, who have the greatest player to ever play the sport, and are headquartered in Los Angeles, California. And you won't outspend them, which is very hard to do because they're the Los Angeles Dodgers and they're owned by fucking gazillionaires. It becomes very, very difficult to get something that the Dodgers want. Not impossible. The Dodgers' first goal this offseason was that they wanted to sign right-handed relief pitcher Devin Williams. And they didn't do that because he chose to sign with the New York Mets. So it is possible. However, the Dodgers and the Mets both wanted Shohei Ohtani. He signed with the Dodgers. The Dodgers and the Mets both wanted Yoshinobu Yamamoto. He signed with the Dodgers. The Dodgers and the Mets both wanted Roki Sasaki. He signed with the Dodgers. That one hasn't worked out too great yet. He did turn into a pretty good relief pitcher. He might yet turn into a good starting pitcher. The point is the Dodgers and the Mets both wanted him, and he signed with the Dodgers. The Dodgers and the Mets both wanted Edwin Diaz. He signed with the Dodgers. The Dodgers and the Mets both wanted Kyle Tucker. He signed with the Dodgers. 2,633 commuters over 101 days feels like a fine score. I'm reasonably satisfied with it. Oh, it's top 5% in the world. It's like 1,000 dudes worse than Samurai Sam, but, you know, it's top 5% in the world. Okay. All right, everybody drop those Samurai Slams in the chat. Good job. All right. Oh, Lord. Let's bring in our very good friend, the Wordle. I'm terribly sorry to my European friends who are just having to listen to the Goog rant about baseball today. We can talk more about baseball, such as what the Mets are going to do next, which, the Wordle today is plant, as in plantar fasciitis, as in hay. Popular consensus is that the Mets' next plan after, because remember, the Mets still need a corner outfielder because their starting center fielder is still Tyrone Taylor. You remember that? You remember how the Mets' starting outfield at present consists of Juan Soto, who's a tremendous hitter but actually kind of bad at defense, and Carson Bench, who's probably good, but probably good and might not be good right away on account of literally never having played a single game of Major League Baseball in his entire life. And then there's Tyrone Taylor, who is a good defensive center fielder and can't hit, like to the degree that he's functionally unplayable despite being a good defensive center fielder. Yeah, so the Mets still need an outfielder, but the best one available just signed with the Dodgers. And then the next best one available is Cody Bellinger, who pretty transparently wants to go back to the Yankees just for as much money and for as many years as he can convince the Yankees to give him. So they're probably not signing Cody Bellinger. And they probably don't want to sign Cody Bellinger for the amount of money and, more importantly, the amount of term that it would take to sign Cody Bellinger. So they're probably not signing Cody Bellinger. And if they're not signing Cody Bellinger, then the next best outfielder available is apparently Lars Nootbaar, who plays for the Cardinals and is owed a fair bit of money. And, well, the Wordle today is not plant, but he has been recently dealing with plantar fasciitis, which, if you're a fan of the New York Mets, you should recognize as the condition that plagued Brandon Nimmo. You remember Brandon Nimmo, the 2-win corner outfielder whose feet are fucked that the Mets were so very happy to trade for Marcus Semien this winter? Well, Lars Nootbaar over the course of the past few seasons has been a 2-win corner outfielder, and his feet are fucked. So, yeah, the offseason kind of started with the Mets being very excited to offload a 2-win corner outfielder whose feet are fucked, and it seems as though 2 A's in Nootbaar. Nootbaar. He's, I believe, an exceedingly Dutch gentleman. So the offseason started with the Mets offloading Brandon Nimmo, who's a 2-win corner outfielder whose feet are fucked, and now it seems that the next plan may well be to acquire Lars Nootbaar, who is a 2-win corner outfielder whose feet are fucked. So, yeah, it's not amazing times in Queens right now. The wordle today is not sauce, although it may have been. The wordle today is caver, person who explores caves. No, it is not. The wordle today is facer, person who looks me in the no. The wordle today is macer, person who sprays no. The wordle today is... It's a wonderful question, actually. The wordle today is racer, a person who engages in speed-based competitions. Yes, indeed. The wordle today is racer. Okay. Sonny made a very Dutch D&D character. His name is Lars. Lars is a wonderful name for a Dutch person. Listen, if it turns out that Lars Nootbaar actually has some unlocked potential that the Mets can possibly help him reach, and his feet aren't quite as fucked as one fears, because listen, he did have surgery this offseason, and maybe that actually fixed the issue. Sometimes it does. You know, it could be fine that the Mets acquire Lars Nootbaar. He could almost be halfway as good as, say, Kyle Tucker. All right. So we're boycotting the world, presumably the World Cup. Pas de football entre les camps. Okay, so there's no football in concentration camps. This is reasonable. Okay, so basically we got angry French people who don't want there to be a World Cup during World War II. This is what I'm seeing here. Or perhaps sometime after World War II, because actually, this is not some World War II ass haircuts. These are, yeah, okay. So this is like the 60s or something? Yeah, I think we got the 60s or something. And there's a World Cup happening, and the World Cup presumably is happening in some place where there are concentration camps, at least according to these angry French protesters, and they don't want no fucking part of it. So they're marching and holding banners and something. Okay. So this is a water salon. Cool. This over here says something pensioners, prisoners, political prisoners. Okay. Political prisoners have an adroit option. Okay. Great. This is not L'Arc de Triomphe, although it looks like it might be like a squished version. Like, imagine if you took L'Arc de Triomphe and you just grabbed the sides and went, and you pushed it together, it would go in, but then it would also go up. Sonny's brother used to work for Adidas, but quit because they kept funding the World Cup in Qatar. Well, that's good. Good for you, Sonny's brother. Stand by your motivations. So presumably we're in France, right? Like, we got French signage and French shop signage and something that looks vaguely similar to the... Could be Argentina 1978. Were there concentration camps in Argentina in 1978? Who knows? Let's find out. This could be 1978. I could totally see that. All right. But we're going to assume that we are actually in Paris. They're just... they're mad about stuff. Oh, yeah, Argentinian dictatorship. Yeah, that's probably not great. All right. We are near... I know that actually isn't L'Arc de Triomphe, but we got to pick something. So let's find us the Eiffel Tower, because L'Arc de Triomphe is very... There it is. That isn't... No, that's not just a trick of photography. That's not literal... We're going to assume that that's not literally L'Arc de Triomphe, but it is Paris, France, and if it turns out that that is L'Arc de Triomphe, then how many times can I get away with saying L'Arc de Triomphe in one time guessing? The world may never know. Hi, Sam. You've missed all of the Kyle Tucker ranting. Just every single last bit of it. Turns out that was in fact l'Arc de Triomphe, and it was 1978. Merci beaucoup, Peter S. Samurai Sam has redeemed the Goog's terrible French accent. We shall do the rest of the time guessing dans français, or at least in l'accent français. Ho ho ho! This is simply an impression of Pierre Escargot, which there are perhaps worse things. All right. The traffic sign here, she say alto. She also say, I do not know the Spanish word for stop. Wait, that is the Spanish word for stop. The Spanish word for go is ado? No. That is probably not correct. All right. So we have the signage in Spanish. The Sam has noticed the sheeting, which, yes, there was sheeting. The Plat de la Science, she say Mexico. So, you did say, Peter S., that they were protesting the thing in 1978. I was probably going to say something like 1974, which would have been wrong, which would have been less escort, which would have made numbers small. As is c'est un avantage unfair, which is to say, cheating. Anyway, the license plate, she from Mexico. The cars and such, she from Mexico. The people, the fashions, they from 60s? 19... 68? Mais? Oh, 19... Ne mouvez pas le thing? 19 ne mouvez pas le thing. Obviously. This is the most obvious thing in the world, is Mexico City in 19 ne mouvez pas the thing. Or 1970. It could have been 1970. It's different time. Bad year. But good location. Good job, Goog. Samurai Sam, so I sing in the back, c'est La Paz, which can just mean peace, but you thought it meant the city in Bolivia, so you were wrong on the location. Well, that is the things that can happen if you are not as good as the guessing of places. I will not even taunt. It happens. Here we have the Greek carvings. Okay. The Greek carvings and the Greek flag, presumably then Greek. The Greek coloring on the little hut. The Telltale. Everyone remembers that Edgar Allan Poe story? The Telltale hut? This is the Telltale hut. The Telltale hut. Title of the episode. I am so glad that cracked me up. So the gentlemen here, they have guns, they have the rifles, they have these stupid poofy slippers. I'm sorry, Greece. What is with these stupid poofy slippers? Are these supposed to be intimidating or fancy? They are neither intimidating nor fancy. Oh, the terrible French accent has inevitably become the terrible German accent. Never before has the German been unwelcome into the France before. This is first time. This is Assens dans Greece. Dans 23? 23? 2023? 2023? The iPhone, she's very modern. The three lenses, très chic. 2023. Fancy Greece. C'est Greece. Fancy Assens. C'est Assens. Toss the pin somewhere in the middle, such as there. We get the Assens, we get the Greece, we go 2023. 2023. 2023. 2023. 2024. Merde. Allez. Oh. I think perhaps this one has been given away for us. I think we may have a small hint, a very small hint as to perhaps where we might be. Perhaps. Just a thought. Now then. As to the one of these, I am inclined to grab the thing and huck it all the way to the left. Is true with time guesser sliders and Overton windows. You take it, you huck it all the way to the left, and you are basically correct. Maybe not entirely correct, basically correct. So, here we go. We find the island, that is Ireland. We find the Dublin, that is Dublin. We find the Earl Street, that is perhaps going to take some work. The women's, the arts don't ladies, they pre-World War One. Again, you take these things, you huck all the way to the left. Samurai Sam checks his YouTube subscription page. There's a lot of complaining videos about Kyle Tucker. Well, you know, the Mets, they have loud, boisterous fans. They've been very angry this winter because of Pete Alonso, the Brandon Nemo, the Jeff McNeil. They're no longer on the baseball team. The replacements, they be not as well known, perhaps not as good. Also, just generally, the Dodgers, they have all the money in the world, and they are the only baseball teams that spends it. And the great trick the devil ever pulled is convince the world he don't exist. So, when there are 29 baseball teams that are not willing to spend the money, it becomes the problem of the one baseball team that is willing to spend the money. And then, the Dodgers, they're so bad. They're so... I'm doing the German again. It was not intentional. I just heard it when I said the Dodgers. All right, so we are in Dublin, and the Earl Street is somewhere around here. Okay, so the problem is when I start to say Z, when I say Z, I try to say Z en français, but I say it as a German person, and therefore the whole thing she just goes inevitably sidereiki, and that's not very good. So I need to find a word or phrase that brings me back to the français, and perhaps that word. Is this self-français? I say français, very français. Anyway, I didn't expect that to... I said I would do it for the rest of the time guessing, but that took a very long time. God. All right, where the hell is Earl Street? It's a good question, to which I do not have an answer. Absolutely don't have an answer. We're going to... See, the thing with the Dodgers is that eventually they are gonna kinda have a problem just because, like, there's only so many roster spots. And I don't necessarily know that, like, they're gonna find a taker for Tommy Edman who's signed through 2030, you know? I don't particularly want to have Tommy Edman on my baseball team in 2030. It doesn't seem great. But, at the same time, you know, presumably by 2030, they will have developed a player who's better than Tommy Edman. Also, I'm not going to find Earl Street, so I'm just going to say that we're right here at Dublin Castle, and we take the thing and we hurt all the way to the left, and we were basically right. See? You take the thing, you herk it all the way to the left, and you're basically right. All right, we got some stilts, fellas. Hi there, stilts fella. If you two are family, would that make you Stiltskin? And if that makes you Stiltskin, can this be Final Fantasy IX? I want it to be Final Fantasy IX. Can this be Final Fantasy IX is one of the titles of the episode. Also, by the way, I promise I won't totally fuck up and forget to upload the episode until 2 o'clock in the afternoon, like I did yesterday, because I did kind of totally fuck up and forget to upload the episode until 2 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday. Oops. Sorry. So if you didn't see a Gibbon yesterday, go back and look. It got there eventually. All right, so you have some writing on your back, which, man, One of these days, I really do need to learn to be able to tell Chinese apart from Japanese. I think this is Japanese. I think you've got some Japanese writing here. I think that says, it appears to say Suzu, as in perhaps Suzuki, which is itself a Japanese name. I don't know. That feels like a not horrible guess. This footwear, this right here, this is exceedingly Japanese footwear. Okay. All right. So we're in Japan, presumably. And if we're in Japan, we're basically in Tokyo. Yeah, because we got buses in cities and whatnot. And listen, they probably have buses in Kyoto. There may, in fact, be public transit in Osaka. It's probably Tokyo. So we're in Tokyo. We've got these cars going on. This feels early 80s, early 70s. I don't know. Actually, the more I look, the more I'm like 1900 and nice. I don't feel horrible about 1900 and nice, but I don't feel great about it either. That feels a little too old. We're going to say Tokyo 1980. There. That seems plausible. Let's zoom in. We're in Tokyo. Specifically, we're just there. Tokyo 1981? Tokyo 1981. Tokyo 1957! Good job, Goog. Final score, 41,881. A good and fine score. Sam said, I saw his score around here somewhere. If I scroll up enough, I'll find it. Presumably. Maybe not. Nope, it's gone. Oh well. Curses. 41,881. It's a pretty good score on an Immaculate Grid. On Time Guesser. For today's Immaculate Grid. 41,881 would be a horrible score on an Immaculate Grid because the Immaculate Grid goes by golf rules. I don't think it's possible to get a 41,881. Anyway, for today's Immaculate Grid, we need Nationals, Marlins, Phillies, Mariners, Reds, and Dudes What Pitched. A Dude What Pitched for the Miami Marlins is Jose Fernandez. He was quite good, and then he got himself killed like a dummy. A Dude What Pitched for the Washington Nationals is Bang Pedro Martinez. Dude What Pitched for the Philadelphia Phillies is our old friend Jamie Moyer. We could use they put a position player out there to pitch, but, let's not. 900. You cannot get higher than 900 unless you cheat and hack. I bet you if you hack. I think Jamie Moyer was a Red, actually. He might have worked for this square. He definitely would have worked for this square because he was a Philly who played for the Mariners. Sad. Oh, well. Dude who played for the Mariners and the... Oh, boy. Oh, the rest of these are all hard. Uh-oh. Dude who played for the Phillies and the Reds is a tremendous shitbag. Dude who played for the Reds and the Marlins is a wonderful question. A dude who played for the Reds and the Nationals is also intriguing when you think about it. Like, really give it some thought and you realize that I don't know shit about shit, actually. Cliff Lee was involved in an important trade that traded him away from the... No, I don't think he ever played for the Mariners either, so never mind. I was going to say, did he actually pitch for the Expos before he got traded? And I don't think he did, and I also don't think he ever played for the Mariners, so just ignore the thing I said about Cliff Lee. Well, you see, what happened was... Mike Cameron was a National, wasn't he? Was Mike Cameron a National? That doesn't feel good. Carl Everett was an Expo. Carl Everett is a dude who played for the Mariners and the Nationals. Okay. That's one of these. Oh, boy. Rob Dibble was a Red. Was he a National? No. Bartolo Colon was a National, but not a Red. Randy Johnson would have fit. Yeah, that's true. Jay Buhner was a Mariner, but not a Philly nor a Marlin. Jeff Conine was a Marlin. Was he a Red? Was Jeff Conine a Red? No, that doesn't feel right. Mike Lowell was a Marlin, but not a Mariner nor a Red. Adrian Beltre was a Mariner, but not a Philly nor a Marlin. A horrendous, horrible Nazi was a Philly, but not a Mariner. So, we only use one shitbag today. Let's see here. Nick Johnson was a National. Was he a Red? I don't think so. Jimmy Rollins was a Red, but not a Marlin or a National. Brandon Phillips was a Red, but not a Marlin nor a National. Billy Hamilton, the modern fast one, was a Red, but not a Marlin or a National. I have named at least a couple dudes who fit squares. Well, fuck. Maybe I was right about Jeff Conine. We're going to assume that I was right about Jeff Conine because it's already 8 o'clock and we got to get out of here at some point. Hey, I was right about Jeff Conine. Okay. Pete Shurik was a Red. Was he a National or an Expo, perhaps? I don't think so. Scott Cooper was an Expo, but not a Red. Scott Rowland was a Red, but not an Expo or a National. Ryan Zimmerman, Anthony Rendon, Adam Dunn was a National and also a Red. And now, let's name some Seattle Mariners. Okay. Let's see here. I already mentioned Jay Buhner. Ken Griffey's kid was a Mariner, but not a Philly or a Marlin. Ken Griffey's kid's dad was a Mariner, but not a Philly or a Marlin. Matt Stairs was a Philly. I don't think he was a Mariner. I do think Matt Stairs was a Marlin, actually. But again, not a Mariner. Edgar Martinez was a Mariner. Tino Martinez was a Mariner. Pedro Martinez has already been used on this grid. Brad Lidge was a Philly, but not a Mariner. Eddie Guardado was a Mariner, but not a Marlin. Dontrell Willis was a Marlin, but not a Mariner. Miguel Cabrera was a Marlin. Hanley Ramirez was a Marlin. Ivan Rodriguez was a Marlin. None of these people were Mariners. Ichiro was a Marlin and a Mariner. Okay. Uno mas. We already used Jamie Boyer. I'm so fucking mad at myself for having already used Jamie Boyer. Also, Mike Cameron was a Marlin. That's true, actually, now that you think about it. I named a dude earlier who fits this square. I've named so many dudes. Was Matt Stairs a Mariner? No, Matt Stairs was not a Mariner. Tino Martinez was not a Philly. Edgar Martinez was not a Philly. Giant Awful Nazi was just a Philly, not a Mariner. Giant Awful Rhode Island bilking Nazi was a Philly, not a Mariner. Just so we're clear about who I'm mentioning but not naming. Ryan Howard was a Philly but not a Mariner. Fuck. Roy Halladay was a Philly but not a Mariner. Cliff Lee was a Philly. I don't think he was a Mariner. Was Cliff Lee a Mariner? If I close my eyes and squint, I can envision Cliff Lee in a Mariners jersey. But that's not a good measure of things. Like, I can see Cliff Lee pitching at Safeco. No, it's bad. Don't do that. Felix Hernandez was a Mariner, but not a Philly. Fuck. Billy Wagner was a Philly, but not a Mariner. There's a 2000s hitter who I know better as a Mariner, who was also on the Phillies. A-Rod was a Mariner, but not a Philly. Richie Sexson was a Mariner, but not a Philly. Oh, Jesus Christ. Cal Raleigh's a Mariner, but never a Philly. Julio Rodriguez is a career Mariner. Jesus Christ. J.P. Crawford? Yeah! Yeah! J.P. Crawford! That's an immaculate grid! Cliff Lee was totally a Mariner. God damn it! God! Oh yeah, Raul Ibanez. Oh yeah, I remember him. I remember Raul Ibanez as a Philly just because the famous gifs of Raul Ibanez spiking throws into the outfield dirt were when he was with the Philadelphia Phillies. Oh, Lord. Folks, that is going to do it for us here today on Good Morning Mini Motorways. Come back Monday to find out how the Mets have embarrassed themselves over the weekend. I'm sure it'll be fun. Have a good day, everybody. Bye-bye.